You're listening to the Long Game Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra Sciano. So the methods I talk about here on the podcast, the methods of my work, my peak framework that I've created, they all come from real world experience. I am out there every day working with my clients in their course and membership businesses. I always say that I have a front row seat to the back end of many businesses. Well, today I'm giving you the front row seat to the back end of one of my clients' businesses. My guest is weight loss expert and founder of the Real Deal program, Gladys DiTroia. For 12 years, Gladys had a successful private weight loss business. And for the past 3 years, she's had a wildly successful online course and membership program. Gladys is here to open up about her story as a digital entrepreneur. We're talking about what goes on between us as expert and brand strategist behind the scenes. And she's sharing so many of the strategies that we've employed to bring her business to the $1 million mark. This is real world brand building from someone who started with just a local following and now has members all across North America. This episode is really all about how you can do this. If you are an expert in your field, you can translate what you do to digital to reach more people and to shift from the overwhelm of one-to-one. It's really an authentic example of the power of partnership. And it's also a fun glimpse into how it is to work with me. So I am thrilled to bring this conversation to you today. The long game is how we got to 1 million in sales with the Real Deal course and membership. In a world where everyone is doing, it's easy to get lost in a sea of comparison, secret tricks, and promises of overnight success. The long game? That's my approach to business. You gotta show up, you gotta do the work, and there are no quick fixes for long-term success. It takes creativity, it takes strategy, and it takes listening to the voice inside you. I'm a web designer, digital strategist, and energetic thinker, bringing you real-world business building experiences, conversations with creators who are out there doing it now, and ideas to spark the energy in your own business. And along the way, we're going to have a little bit of fun as well. So thanks for being here, and let's get to today's episode. I am so excited for today's episode. I have weight loss expert and founder of the Real Deal weight loss program and client of mine, Gladys DiTroia, with me. So I know Gladys and her brand very well. We have been working together for 3+ years now. And with her program, she's the expert, and with me as the brand strategist. So we have really formulated a great relationship. And she has so much good to share with us about her road to becoming a 7-figure digital course creator and membership site owner. And we're going to talk a little bit about our program today and a little bit about the process here today. So welcome, Gladys.
Thank you. I have been dying to come on and share everything that we have.
I'm so excited to have you here. And we're really just going to dive in and chat about it all. So, all right. You launched your Real Deal weight loss program in the digital form 3 years ago, and now you are topping out at $1 million in sales. So first of all, congratulations. That is no small feat in this time frame. But let's go back and let's talk about how this all came about. Like you were the expert weight loss coach and you were working in a one-on-one practice.
Yes. When I met Sandra, I was beginning to burn out. I had a private weight loss practice for over 10 years, and I was seeing about 10 to 13 clients a day, 6, 7, sometimes 7 days a week. And I was getting burnt. But during that time, I started doing 8-week programs for gyms and major corporations. And I wanted to get out of that one-on-one forum because it was burning me out. And I wanted to reach more people. So I did not know what to do. I had no idea what a person does who wants to do this. So all I could think of at 55 years old at that time, probably still using a flip phone, all this brain could think of is, well, what do people in weight loss do? Well, the Weight Watchers is good. I'll open a center and I'll teach other women how to do this so they can do it and I won't work as hard. And that was my idea. And I had heard amazing things about Sandra from a group that I was part of for women entrepreneurs. So I reached out and I told her my fabulous idea. And she said, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. You do not want a brick and mortar. You are not going to have much reach this way, and it's going to be really expensive. You should do this online thing. And I was like, what? Online? Isn't that going to involve
oh my gosh, wait. And I want to set the scene. You did not have a website, just a Yahoo email address, like the whole 9 yards, nothing digital at all for your business. Everything was word of mouth and referrals and all of that.
Basically, all I knew how to do is what I'm an expert at. I know how to teach people about realistic and sustainable weight loss. I know nothing else. So Sandra brought up this idea and I was really, really scared. But I was more scared. I was so scared. I can't believe it. But I was more scared of staying where I was. That was worse. I was totally burning out and it was stealing my passion for what I love. I love what I do and I wasn't loving it anymore. And that was scaring me. So I figured, what do I have to lose? She told me what it costs. I said, you know what? At the end of my life, if I don't try this and see if it doesn't work out better and leave me happier and, I'm going to be really regretful. So I did it. And since I know nothing about doing this, it was actually better because I had no input. I just listened to Sandra.
Well, that was the best thing is that you did. You took all the direction and went and did the work. Plus, you were already an expert. So you had this roadmap already of what you were teaching. And then we just had to take it and translate it a different way. So, I always say you are like the most ideal client because you put your trust in me and listened. And it allowed me to do what I do and follow suit. And so we were able to build this from one-to-one to digital, where you now help thousands of women lose weight rather than tens of women lose weight.
Yeah. And it was really great, that Sandra incorporated the fact that she had actually come to one of my live programs where I would do these 8-week
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
that. Yeah. Actually, the reason I chose her is that she attended one of the evenings of a program that I do. And she, I guess, saw how receptive the audience was and how comfortable I was. I was telling her how scared I was to tape and everything. And there I was in front of 70 women, just going at it in person. I'm great. And so what she did was she used what I was strong at. She took my 8-week program. She saw how well it was doing. And she pretty much made it fit this online forum. So I appreciated that because that gave me a little bit of comfort.
And really the best thing though was the timing. Let's just say that because you launched in September of 2019 with your first digital course. And we all know what happened in March of 2020. So I loved getting a call from you one day being like, I'm so glad I listened to you.
Oh my God.
If you had gone with a brick and mortar and had to shut down for 2 years.
Financially ruined, right?
And that was it. The digital space, it was timing, it was your expertise, that came together and allowed you to flourish. The program is based on sustainability and being easy and enjoying what you're doing, enjoying the process, enjoying what you eat, and also habits, right? Creating new habits to support the new direction you're moving in. So tell us a little bit about the program, what goes on in it.
So the program, basically, I help women develop a lifestyle that allows them to lose weight while still enjoying their lives. The big problem is I get them out of the fad diet mindset. And 100%. This is very, very difficult. And I would say that's my strength, is that I pull them in And, I remind them that none of these fad diets ever work long term. And women are so sick of going on one fad diet after the other and always starting over. They feel so defeated. And all diets are based on deprivation and suffering. Women actually believe they have to suffer to lose weight, when really exactly the opposite is true. The number one thing you have to do to lose weight is enjoy the way you eat. And I show women such an enjoyable way of eating that they can't believe it. And they have freedom. They can go to restaurants. They can socialize and they can still lose weight. And what they always say is, I cannot believe that I can eat this or do that and still lose weight. So I am breaking the myth that you have to suffer to lose weight. And I have thousands of success stories to prove it.
And we talk about this a lot. You and I meet a lot and we talk a lot about your brand and your business and how sustainability. And for me, I just want to say that the tenets of your brand, Gladys, have really made an impression on me because they translate beyond just weight loss. Like, it really is how we should be living our lives. Sustainability, ease, enjoyment, all of that, and habits, right? You cannot do something quick. You always say, slowest is the fastest, right? Slow is the fastest way.
Fastest way to lose weight is slowly.
Because if you do not implement the habits, you will be right back where you started. And that is the problem with all of the fad diets out there. You lose quick, you have not changed your habits. And so as soon as you return to your quote unquote normal life again, you are right back where you started and gaining even more weight.
People are using temporary solutions and expecting permanent results. You are only going to get temporary results from temporary solutions. All fad diets are temporary. All right, fasting, drinking shakes, cutting out an entire food group. You cannot do, or eating within a window, you cannot do these things forever. So the second you go back to your regular eating and you don't know any better, that's the problem. Once it's over, what do you do next? You don't know anything. So you are going to go back to the way you ate before. And that way of eating and living is what put on the weight in the first place. So people have no tools.
Totally. And it's also about foundation building, right? Like, we talk about this with your program. Like, we took the time together, you and I working together, to build a foundation. Same thing in your program. You build a foundation with the women that you work with so that they can then build and scale their weight loss, so to speak. And
it's the hard part.
Yeah,
because
totally.
Nobody wants to build a foundation. And that's why you're so good at what you do and why I'm good at what I do, because that's not an easy sale.
Yeah.
We know it's important to build systems.
Oh, we have had many conversations where I have slowed you down. You wanted to put your foot on the gas, and I was like, no, not until this system is ready, because it will all collapse on itself.
Yeah, that was a big learning thing for me. And it wasn't until my business got a little bigger where I went, holy cow. First of all, we could have never gotten here, and we could never continue growing if we didn't have these systems in place. We would have fallen apart. Yeah.
Totally. And that's one of the things I always try and impart on business owners who listen to this podcast, or business owners that I work with, that, that is a long game strategy, and it applies to everything, right? It applies to everything in your life. Build the foundation so that you have a strong base to stand on. It is a long game strategy, and people don't like to hear it. Yep. It takes a little longer.
It's not sexy. Long games isn't sexy until you do it.
Yeah. You know what's sexy? 7 figures is sexy in your bank account.
Because when they should have another word for the long game. I love it because I understand it, but it's not what current people want to hear. Everything
they want to hear fast, trendy, right?
Yeah,
they want the magic pill. Fast. You are in the business of the magic pill. People want you to give them the magic pill. Same with me. I'd like a magic pill, they say to me, to grow my business.
Yeah, they see people on the internet, the 3 people saying, oh my gosh, I went from nothing to 7 million, people bought my program. And, really, if you dig deeper, you're going to find that did not happen overnight.
Totally. And here's the thing, too, about this. You were really established in your systems of your program as well. You knew you were already doing this work. So you came with this base of knowledge and how to work through your process with your clients. I turned that into something a little different in a different form. And then we built the systems for the digital piece. But once we did that, we were able to scale. We were able to add more people at one point, there was just the two of us. Then we added some people in, right? Like along the way, we've added people to help with that, but you cannot handle scale without systems, right? And without understanding what your process is and what your goal is as well.
Absolutely. You'd always be backsliding every time you wanted to grow if your systems aren't in place. And it was literally effortless every time we wanted to make a change for growth. Sandra had this amazing idea that literally added, I would say, an additional 30% onto my income of adding this alumni, this membership program. We were able to effortlessly do that. If we did not have these systems, I don't know how long it would have taken. And the people that we hired, we had systems in place. Sandra had things so she was able to train people quickly that she put together as we went along.
And let's talk about the alumni group. So the way it's set up in Gladys's business, she has her 8-week course, and you learn all of the tools and the skills, and you obtain those skills in the 8 weeks. And then the alumni group is a membership group that you can move into afterward, where you can really work to implement those goals. All right, so let's explain about how the business is set up. So Gladys has her 8-week course, the Real Deal program, that really teaches the foundations of the program, the foundations of weight loss and her program. And then people are able to move into the alumni group, which is a membership site on the back end. And there they are able to really implement over time, right? Because you learn the process in the 8 weeks, and then there's time with support and accountability afterward in the membership site. So that was something that we saw a need for after the first program. In that September 2019 group, we were kind of like, that actually is one of the ways that my own brand develops, because I always say you have to have an answer to what's next. And all these people, you had 100 people going through, and they all said, "What's next, Gladys?" And we realized this at week 5. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this. These people still want more. They're loving this. We have got to do something else. So we developed this.
More support and accountability for ultimate goals. No one is going to lose all the weight, for the most part, that they want to lose in 8 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And so we implemented this alumni group on the back end. And that has been something that, again, you're really building community there. People stay. The retention there is amazing. That is another piece in the revenue stream, right? There's the people who come in for the 8 weeks. And Gladys and I work really closely on tracking our conversions. How do we make the most amount of people in a positive way, serving way, who, how do we help them continue their journey in the alumni group? That's something we really spend time on and work towards, so that people do reach their goals and they are happy and they are obtaining the life they want and getting there in that time frame.
And the women that are already in the alumni group who, as I said, they're moving closer to their goals. Many of them are at their goal and stay in the group to reinforce their maintenance, because maintaining weight is just, another part of the weight loss journey. It's wonderful. The new members come in and they get support and everything from these women who have been successful, who have been where they are. So it is this amazing supportive community. So the new women coming in get support from the older members. And the older members are reinforcing their habits and their tools by helping the other women. It's so amazing. And
the community, I have never seen such a strong, interactive, engaged community of people. It's everything. People are revealing their lives. They're funny. All the gamuts of emotions happen in that group.
Yeah, and it's all women. So it's nice because, we can talk about women's stuff. We can, say, my husband did this, I don't know what to do, or my mother-in-law, or da, 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 da. We're going to get the real stuff, the stuff that you can't talk to about probably with your mother, your best friend, your husband. It's
Well, there's also that thread of common knowledge. Everyone in the alumni group has gone through the 8 weeks. We all have that common experience, that same knowledge, and
we're all on the same page. We're all talking Gladys. We're all talking real deal. Yeah.
right. Gladysisms is, yeah, they're popular. But, that is really important because it isn't, even when the new women come in, they're already prepped in the language, right? They already know certain things. So it's not like, oh, we got to backtrack and tell it all over again. So that makes that transition really easy. And I think as a base for your business, it works really well to give them the tools in the 8 weeks and then bring them over into the membership, into the alumni group to continue on their journey.
And during the first 8 weeks, they developed a connection with other women that, let's face it, in society now, we're very disconnected from each other in some ways. And here, they can just go on their phone to their Facebook group and connect with all these women with similar goals and ideas and problems. And they don't want to lose that. That's why it's so important to build a community. People do not, and Sandra taught me about this. She would always say, we should do this little thing or this thing to build community. And I was like, well, that's not weight loss. But I'm like, okay, but community keeps people in it. And I learned
and we work hard at that. I mean, you and I always say, like, we come from a place to serve these women, right? And like everything we do is driven by that, but we also work to grow the business in a sustainable way as well. And so we think about how can we continue to foster community? What will help people along the way? And we look at data. We use Kajabi. We go in and we look at those stats and we see what people are doing, or this happened. So let's build on that. That was a good thing, right? So we do look at that data a lot to make these data informed decisions about what we're going to do going forward.
Yes. What Sandra will always be looking at what caused engagement, right? Like, Gladys, did you notice? She'll pull up in a meeting. I pulled this up. I wanted you. Did you notice that this post on this day? Did you see how many women engaged? Do you know how much higher that is? And she has all the numbers and knows what she's doing. And then we'll say, you know what? Apparently, she'll say this seems to be something that really moves the group. So let's see what else we can do in line with that. And then I'll think of something, and she'll come up with a cool way to implement it. And that's how we go, because I have to tell you, I'm so busy in the business. I'm busy doing what I do, coaching these women, that a lot of this goes right over my head because I'm so in it. I can't see the whole picture. But she's looking from the outside and finds, I wouldn't notice, oh, this had 100 likes versus, whatever. And I'm very grateful for that because I would not know to continue in certain directions or to not do things that I've done that didn't work so great.
And, to springboard off of that, one of the things that I've really appreciated about working with you also is you bring your true self to this. And that is my style to the people I work with. I bring my knowledge and all of that, but I want to lead with your personality, who you are. I don't want to try and make you into someone else. You don't have to be someone else. You are perfect, or just who you are in getting your message out and teaching your course and all of these pieces, showing up just as who you are. And I think that has been one of the threads of success over these years, is that you come out as who you are, and we are able to add to all of that. Like when Reels first came in this hype, there is no pointing and doing. Like we had discussed, that's not
me.
Yep.
I said, she wanted me to do Reels, and I said, I am not doing this.
Yep.
I'm not doing it. I'm not dancing. I'm not doing it. And she said, I know you're not.
Yeah. And you don't have to
have you do that.
And I just think in your entire business, though, you have brought your personality. We write emails the way you talk. Your sales page is not fluffy shit. You know what I mean? Like, it is written in the vein of you. To me, that really highlights success in business, to feel comfortable, be yourself, and come out as who you are. And you can do this. You don't have to be doing what everybody else is doing, type of thing.
And I really appreciated that, because that's was part of my fear. Like, what do I have to act like to be online? Right. And, Sandra pointed out that you've been extremely successful being who you are. And what she's not telling you is I have a very unique approach. I will try not to do it here, but I do curse a lot.
You can.
Very extremely straightforward. At the same time, I'm very supportive and caring, but I'm kind of like a no bullshit person. There is no filter. It could be frightening, but women appreciate it. And Sandra let me continue being that way, which reduced so much of my fear. And instead of like changing me a little, she brought things to me that allowed me to use my personality. She found my personality as a strength and used it. And now all you hear people say is, oh my God, you're so real. You're so real. I love how real you are. Whoever you are, you don't have to curse, but whatever your truth is, you can only be your most powerful, successful self when you're being yourself, your real self. And that is really your strength. You don't have to be like someone else. Whatever your thing is, when you bring that on, that's when you're your best.
And that doesn't mean that we don't do things you're uncomfortable with. Like, we challenge you. You have to learn. You have mastered certain things, and I've pushed you into doing live video, doing more video in period, right? Like, just because, yeah, that challenge is still there. You still have to do things you didn't think you would do, but you're doing them your own way. And you're bringing your personality to them in your own way.
Yeah. And it's 3 years, but I'm sure Sandra would love me to be doing reels every day. And hopefully I'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better. And when I look at what I did a couple of years ago towards now, and she's given me tools that have helped me. We recently put a teleprompter thing available to me, which changed my life. It used to take me all day to do a 2-minute segment. And now, I can do it in 2 minutes. So many things. She knows what my strengths and my weaknesses are, and she helps me with my weaknesses. And it's crazy that I can talk in front of hundreds of live people, but the second that little red light goes off, but she keeps pushing me in that direction, because that is what we need to do. And listen, growth is painful. All right. It's a little painful. So in order to grow, I'm going to have to do some things that I'm uncomfortable with, but she knows what makes me uncomfortable, and she's helping me find ways so that I can be successful at them. And I really appreciate it.
And there are ways that you need to. We're not taking every fad and being like, you have to do this type of thing. It's really strategic and directed, right? Like, and something that we've talked about and have agreed upon as like, okay, I present, this is a direction I think we should go in, and you get on board with that. It's not like we're doing every fad under the sun type of thing, but we also have a vision of where this business can go. And we talk about that, where can this business be in 5 years? And how do we get there, right? Like, what is the plan to move forward?
And Sandra has pinpointed exactly what we need to do to get there. She knows, she has pretty much said, for you to grow, people need to get to know you. That is your biggest strength. When I'm talking one-on-one with someone, basically they'll be like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. It could be a concept you've heard a million times, but apparently something about the way I say it really helps them click. And she knows that. So she said, people have to know you. So I believe that once I get doing this more and more, and we are doing it more, it really is going to result in even more growth.
And that was something you pointed out also. I mean, early on, you weren't afraid to go out and talk to people. You would go and lead these in person or, go to corporations and host,
wearing a banana suit at Wells Fargo in New York City and
right.
almost getting arrested.
Growing up in the banana costume. But that's so important to know what your strengths are. I think as a business owner, we all need to look back or look inside at ourselves. What am I drawn to? What are other people drawn to me for? And then build a strategy off of that of how to move forward.
But it's hard to do on your own.
Yeah, true.
When you're in it, you just don't have the perspective. But when you point it out and you have data to support it, I mean, she'll just have all the comments saved leading towards what people say about me that they like or what made them successful. So we don't just sit there and let's try this, let's try that. It is targeted and it's proven by data that she has. And I wouldn't know how to collect that. You can't be good at everything. I only do one thing and I do it well. So the other things, I listen to Sandra and they have panned out beyond my wildest dreams.
And, it is, I will say, a perfect marriage in that case, because we both bring something to, I always tell you, I'm like, I just love to let somebody let me do it all. And like you do, let me do it all type of thing. And then you're bringing your expertise. So, for me, and I've said this to you before, like, I am so grateful because in my work, I'm behind a screen or I'm doing something, but I feel like I've helped thousands of women. The work that I do has now helped thousands of women feel better about themselves, lose weight, be healthier, have better relationships, learn new habits, all of these things through your program. And I feel this way about all my clients. Like, I really help facilitate. And like, you have made it also so like, I am a part of this program. I am a part of the Facebook group and I go in and comment. I know these women, they friend me on Facebook outside of the group, right? I feel like I have made an impact through my work, through facilitating your work. And that's really meaningful to me.
And I think that's something, I don't know about your other clients, but where we're aligned. People have basic needs in life and different people need different things. And I think both of us have a need to help people, to have an impact. And I feel the same way. And I'll hear from people. I know that when I help one woman, I didn't just help that woman, I helped her family, because now that her habits change, it is going to trickle down to her whole family and honestly trickle down to generations. When she changes the way she eats, the way she talks to herself, and her daughter sees that, then it changes her life and it's going to change her kid's life. To know that you've had an impact for me, and I think for you, it is so satisfying and fulfilling. Like, what makes you feel fulfilled?
Yeah, why do we do this? Why do we do this?
And this is what I do. And then I'll just randomly look at my bank account. Like, I don't look at my bank. I don't sit there and think, how can I make more money?
No, 100%.
I say to myself when I make a decision in business, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? When you focus on how you can help, you will always make money. But if you focus on making money, you will never help anyone and you will never make money. So Sandra is like, a couple years ago, yeah, your program did this much money this first time. Like, is that good, Sandra? She goes, yes. Kajabi wants to do a study on you. Like, how did you, on your first launch, do this much money?
And that's interesting too. Yeah. Like, people say, how did you do this? Right. And it is an important thing because we have been focusing on this now as of late in the growth part of your business. But because you were already out there, there was an audience. There was something to tap into. You had this local audience. You had these in-person things. We used social media to extend that offer. So you came with years of experience already before we started working together, that there was a community in there. And I think that's important too, because people think, oh, I'm going to go do an online course and then I'm going to make all this money. And it's like, you have to have things laid up. And we work now to grow that community. That's one of the pieces.
Yeah. So here I was in New Jersey with this, few town strength. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, my sister's in Canada. And, all of a sudden I've got a following in Seattle because one chick lost 50 pounds and she told her friend and she told her friend. And now we're like, oh my God, don't forget to put, if we're having a call with the group Eastern Time, Standard Time, I'm like, I can't believe we are.
That was a big change for us, adding EST to everything.
Yes. We are freaking nationwide. When I was I'm not talking states, I was in a couple little towns surrounding me. And now we're serving women all over the country and Canada.
Yeah, it's amazing. But those are things to think about. Like as you're growing, right? You've got to continue to build your audience. And we spend a lot of time with that. And we've got plans going forward for that as well. And that's when you go back to that foundation piece. But before we could build this big audience to be able to fill up all, a stadium, you've got to have the foundation done, right? The foundation needs to be there so that the stadium can be facilitated in so many words. So, now that we're 3 years in, we are a full 3 years into the program, and we're able to move on to some of those other brand building pieces for your brand that we couldn't do beforehand because we were setting up foundations. There was just 2 of us. And it's like, all right, how much can we do? Right.
Right. Like there's a lot of things that, I felt badly that I wasn't doing as much social media presence of myself. I tried to put a lot of things out there, but what needed to be there is more social media presence of me. But really for 3 years, I had to build this business. And now, like I always said, right now I can run these courses. I already have the content that can just be repurposed. I had to build all these things. I mean, in my business in particular, there's certain things and recipes that had to be put together and this and that.
Seasonally. I mean, we've gone through 3 years of seasons as well because the program changes based on the time frame, right? Super Bowl versus the holidays versus summer. All of these, you always say, every season has its hazards.
Every season has its hazard. But also for almost 2 years, we did not address normal life. For 2 years, was it 2 years, I guess?
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that for sure.
Immersed in COVID skills. So I didn't even get to normal life, like as we know it, until about a year ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Such a good point.
We're just building those things now. So you know what? With all of this shifting that I had to do, there was not time. There was no the bandwidth or the mental energy to do these additional things. But now,
and I'll give you a perfect for instance. Like we literally 7 months ago, 8 months ago, put up your first opt-in. Right? Like we were 2.5 years into this program and we just couldn't get it done, right? Because we were shifting, we were customizing, and the foundation systems are the back end things, but also those program things, right? Like how does that program start and stop and what happens in between? And what is every member doing every day type of thing, every team member? So we really had to create systems for the course each season. And so, there are things that we all know to do. I know to do that as a digital strategist. You need an opt-in to get people on your list. Well, that could never be done because up until recently, when we were able to sit down and say, this is the opt-in. Okay, shoot the videos. Let's put it together now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that it wasn't a deficiency. It was we'll get there in due time.
Forget that. It was actually a strength. Because what did we say the other day? We said, we went in, she knew my business, I knew my business. And we said, okay, so this is what it's going to be our main thing that we're going to focus on and say about our business. And now 3 years later, now that we have all this experience from the women and feedback, we're like, no, actually, we didn't even realize this is what we're going to focus on. And that's what we made our opt-in about.
Totally.
Right. And if we had done it in the beginning, it would not have been as strong.
You're so right. It would have been weaker because we really zeroed in on things and
And we
even
were,
our language, but that happens, right? Like as you are in your business, you have to work in your business
Mhm.
for it to grow and evolve. You can't, I always say, you can't think your business. If you think it and you're not in it doing it, you're not going to be on message as much because by being in it, we realized a different message than when we started. Like we have
We
completely
realized,
shifted.
right, what women were telling us what they loved about the program that they weren't getting from other things. And they were things a little different than we were focusing on. We're like, wow, okay, so that's where we're going. So sometimes, I mean, it seems like a long time. It's not 3 years. When I think about
Oh, yeah.
it's not a long time. And especially when now you know you're going to give up the message that your perfect client really wants, the message that really speaks to them. Because you know what? They're going to overlook you if the message isn't on point.
Yeah.
We know we have an on point message now because we've got thousands of women who have told us this is what they got from the program.
Yeah, we listen. We listen to them. And it has taken this time of having them in the program. And it wasn't that I didn't think we were, so off point before, but it was like we did infer some of that. Oh, what they want to hear. And now we know, like, when you know in your soul, when you
Yeah.
know deeper that this is the message, like it's come out through working in it.
Yeah. It's much easier to preach it too. When
Yeah.
you know it's so I always say, it's what they want, but it's going to help them. Right? It's like your best friend saying, I need a new strapless bra. I hate them. And you have the best strapless bra.
Right. You're
You
not
hate
going to let
strapless bras too.
them.
You hate them. And you're like, no, 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 stop. This is what you need. I feel confident preaching because I know I'm on point and it's backed up by data. And literally, Sandra will save hundreds of screenshots from members' comments in different groups, and she'll categorize them and say this supports that we need to go in this direction when we do sales, when we appeal to people, when we try to inspire people. We need to do this because this is what's rocking their worlds.
And they say the best things. I mean, they say things a copywriter couldn't write. I mean, I am still floored by the woman who came into the group and wrote, I took my jeans out of the dryer and I put them on. I mean, that is some real world experience. What
Yep.
woman doesn't know the feeling of jeans out of the dryer and it's like, getting
Yep.
them up, right? She said that. That always sticks with me, like that quote that she just took those jeans right out of the dryer and put them on because her body can do that now, right?
Yeah. And you would think a small comment like that, if someone wrote that in a group, everyone would just like it. But the women were in that like, oh my God, that's amazing. We saw what stuck with people.
Yep.
I love the woman who said, she was at the beach with her kids and she just got up and went into the water. She didn't get up and see how she could cover herself, or she didn't think I can't get up and go in the water with my kids, because like the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And women were going, isn't that the best? Just to like you're on vacation, you're at a resort, you just get up and go to the bathroom. You're not like, you don't have to be strategic about how are you going to cover everything. It's not always about, how you look. It's about how you feel, like, what you
Right.
don't have to feel. It's just a lot of things like that. A lot of freedom. People they find freedom from this.
And I just think that we're capturing what's in their words and being able to just notice that and take that in. It has been so helpful in us determining our message. So, that's a lesson from this. You always hear people say, listen to your audience. Like that's what we mean. That is listening to your audience and taking that in.
And we've had time to listen to the audience, and Sandra made note of what was going on. And now we're going to build a stronger strategy. Our strategy will be strong and on point, and I'm behind it because she showed me the data and I see it. But you can't really build a strong sales strategy without knowing what matters to people. So I feel good about that. I don't think
Definitely. That's like number one. You've got to know your audience and know what they want. I just love that point again with the shifting. Everything shifts. You have to be nimble. I mean, that first shift from non-pandemic to pandemic, I mean, that we had done the program twice, and during the program is when the world shut down. So that was the first, we were in it, and that was the emotion and everybody, the fear, and even people coming to the group just to talk about processing that. Then we had another group that was right at the start of that. Then it was interesting because you're dealing with different emotional pieces. And this is all mindset. No matter what your program is, what your group is, mindset is such a huge piece of it. And we had to shift when people were really in it and, or, ordering from restaurant. I was ordering from restaurant supply stores, the amount of food that was coming into my house, right? That's another piece as well. We really went through a number of different mindsets of the audience and emotional shifts of the audience with that we had to take into account.
Yeah, and challenges, including, the fear of shopping, what to buy, how to limit your number of visits. Have you ever ordered on, believe it or not, then people were not that familiar with ordering foods to their home. So wow, I had to, thank God I had all the years of experience, because when this came up, I already had an arsenal of things. I'm like, well, this will work in this situation. I know what to do. I mean, oh my God, there were so many things, people getting extra freezers and what to buy. And oh my goodness, talk about shifting. Yeah. I mean, there's
a lot of that.
And then there was the emotional end and the mindset. Huge. And then coming back to reality was another huge shift. How do you get back out there without going from this way of doing things to be successful in pandemic to be successful non-pandemic?
Well, that is so interesting too, because we had to shift our message to the marketing. We were selling this course at the same times that we do. We didn't alter it. We didn't not do it. I mean, that was something we had made a commitment to keep doing this and be a space, but you have to shift your marketing, right? When people are zoomed out, how do you sell a course that's on Zoom, right? Like all of those things we shifted as well in our marketing and our systems to keep people engaged and successful.
Yeah. And we knew that when, Sandra knew, I didn't know anything. Sandra knew that when COVID was over and people were done being on their computers all the time, maybe they're not going to want to do an online program. And she helped me market a plan that showed people that this is not your typical, do-it-yourself kind of program. And she showed me how to show my audience that this is really hands-on. All right. And, so that we could now deflect people who were not into online anymore. That, yeah, you should still do this. It's not going to be a cold do-it-yourself program. And I'd say we definitely convinced them.
Oh, definitely. And one of the things we implemented, but we haven't even talked about yet, is a pre-program. One of the big things when you are a course creator is launching, right? You've got to launch at certain times or you're evergreen. And this type of program, Gladys's program she holds your hand throughout. So it has to be a launch method, right? The cohort goes through together. The group goes through together the time frame. So we wanted people to be able to get started before the course started because people wanted to join at different times, so to speak. So that was another piece that, like, when you're listening to the audience, and then we implemented this. And now each time we've done this, there are women who have lost 20 pounds before, and multiple women before the program even starts, because we have taken that into account. How can we build this into the program, have it be effective, have it make sense for the team as well, and our time and time expenditures, and then also have it work for the success of the member.
And what Sandra maybe didn't mention is that I only offer 3 programs a year because I do them live and I'm actually doing them. The modules are recorded, but we are in there coaching the women and reviewing their food journals and all that. We can't be doing them every month. So we only do 3. And what is Sandra and I always hearing? What if I don't want to wait till the next one? What can I do? She heard them saying after the 8-week program, what do I do now? What's next? We answered that question. And this other question popped up. I don't want to wait. What if I missed the last course? Your next course isn't for 3 months. What do I do? And Sandra used this as an opportunity. And we probably did our first full pre-program the last run. And 60%, was it 60%, I think, of the members joined during the pre-program.
Yep.
Oh my God. So what did that prove? Well, yeah, we need a pre-program.
And it shows how you can continue once you have a foundation and a system, you have the capacity to look at other things and add things in. So we had the capacity to brainstorm that. What should it be? Implement it. And now we tweak it along the way, or we add to it. And now it's in a pretty good place. And, but you can have capacity when you have your systems in place. It's not like, how are we going to do that? I mean, can we possibly add something on and we're so overwhelmed? No, we can, because everything else is dialed in very well and on a schedule, and we understand that. So we're able to bring that in without feeling overwhelmed. And we've really added a lot of value to the program, in the members' success, and we've increased in terms of sales and members joining earlier.
And I mean, since it's only the first time we did a official pre-program, I know that what's going to happen, because my business is so much word of mouth. Women, while they're in the pre-program, because now we're just going to get even more and more, they're telling other women before the program starts. Usually it's just when women are in the program. Your members are your best. Word of mouth is, I'm sorry, it's the strongest thing. But now I have alumni members telling their friends, and women that are in the pre-program. And these pre-program members get emails from us with resources. And at the bottom of every one, it says, we tell them how great it is to do this with a friend, that extra support and accountability with your mother, your sister, your best friend. It's going to even make it. And then we get messages. My friend Cindy is doing your pre-program, and we want to do it together now. So So we learned so much, and then we apply it. Like, we learned that word of mouth works. We've used it here. It's pretty amazing. And Sandra is the ultimate the long game thing. Every time we picked a system, she's like, listen, we're going to go with this company. Yes, I know it's like $27 more a month, but you're going to see, once you get past this number of members, we're going to have to buy a whole different system. And that's going to cost you $7,000.
You got to look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, we're going to do the $26 increase, because we're going to have to start from scratch if you get another 100 people in. And so I would never have thought of that. I would have just looked at the prices and go, okay, I have 100 people, so that's the one.
Even recently, we looked at something and I said, oh, this only costs, I don't know, $15 a month. If one person a year buys from this tool that we use, I was like, it pays for itself. And more than one person uses this tool. Like, when I put it that way, because at first you were like, is this another $15, right? And I was like, but just think about it. When you look at it that way and you analyze your tools
But we looked at it. We did
look at it. We looked at all the people who were using it.
Yeah, so we looked at it, and surely it was. And remember, you don't know, even if you think you just covered your costs, you didn't, because somebody told somebody told somebody.
Yeah, the word of mouth. That is, and it's so interesting in this social media, all of this, that word of mouth can be so strong still. And it really is a driver. So
it is. People forget that. They forget, that you get raving results. Yep. When you do good work, people tell other people.
Yep. And people buy good programs.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line too. When their friends recommend it, when they see results, when it's run properly, all of that, people appreciate it. And they understand that you have a team who's working towards the same goal and helping them. Well, awesome. I mean, this has been a chock full episode. Gladys, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of these highlights and features and ideas and points on your journey in your business. It's really, sharing your story is the most valuable thing that you can do outside of yourself. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for changing my life so that I could have a life I wanted, and helping me help thousands thousands of women. I feel like together we've helped so many people. And at the end of the day, it feels so good here. And it really does equate to your bank account. I always said to Sandra, you can have anything you want if you help other people get what they want. When you keep that center in your mind, everything works out. So thank you so much, Sandra. I'll never be able to say thank you.
You can't get rid of me. You can't get rid of me now. Oh, good. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for joining me today. You can access more information, links mentioned in this episode, and the show notes at thelonggamepodcast.net. If today's show connected with you in some way, please share it with your friends or hop on and leave a review. Both of these make a really big difference. All right, until next time, keep playing the long game.